Wig, did you just say wig? Wig, okay. I know, wig. I feel that already. Wig, okay. Wig, did you just say wig? Wig, okay. I am ready for my wig to go flying.
Give a little notice. Now it's recording. So
Woo. We have to intro the show anyway. It's not like we just like start from the beginning.
I mean, sometimes we do, but
I mean, sometimes you do without telling me, but that's a little different.
I'll probably do it this time too. Hi kids.
Hello.
It's Martyr.
It's the Tepper.
And this is Wigging Out.
April edition.
Early April edition, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. A quick catch up. I got a job, so
yeah. Well, also something else happened. Did we talk about it the last episode, or was it too early?
What episode? No, I don't think so. Maybe.
I mean, that's up to you if you want to talk.
I don't know what you're referring to. So
I mean,
okay, work anyway. Don't know what you're talking about.
Sure.
But yeah, we're revving up with April with our guests. Who are we doing today, Caitlin?
So we got her good Judy, Ducky, she a boy on an episode. So now we had to get the other half of the good Judy duo, Patsy InDecline.
Woo! Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yay!
Of course, babe. We're so
long
excited.
time coming. You've been a little booked and blessed, so
that's a good problem to have. That's
yeah. But now you're here.
Thank you so much.
How has your quarantine been? How's your pandemic been?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's been loaded because by day I work at an elementary school.
Oh.
By night and weekends I'm a drag queen, so there's always been those conflicting worlds. But throw on a pandemic and
yeah.
Were you teaching through Zoom?
No, I don't teach. I work in the main office, like administrative. I was a teacher. I was a teacher for 2 years. I taught first grade in South Carolina, and then I taught fourth grade in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, I can never. Takes too much effort, too much.
Yeah, New York City education is hard.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
I've been in every sector at this point. I've been in public, private, charter. It's all just so broken. But and then throw on a pandemic as that happens. But we've been completely remote for a year and a few months now. So March 13th of 2020 was when my world shut down, because not only did the school close that I worked at, but all of my drag gigs got canceled that same night and through that weekend. And then by Monday, I was like, what the hell is happening to the world? So, but I've made the pandemic work for us. Like I don't mind working from home. I've been going back to the building Monday through Thursday though. So yeah, but it is what it is.
How far are you from your job?
I am very far. I live in like Woodside, Jackson Heights.
Okay.
And then travel to West Harlem, 124th Street. Yeah. So
that's like, what do you even take?
And y'all are in Queens, right?
Yeah.
That's really far.
Yeah. It takes like an hour and 20 minutes by train. And then throw in any minor inconvenience.
Yep.
Delayed for like 30 minutes.
Yep.
But I have to take the 7 train to Times Square and then take the 2-3 up to 125th Street. And if you've ever been on the west side on 125th Street, it is nuts over there. It is
it's so busy.
And that's where my school is, and like that's where the kids live in that area. And they just see that all the time, and they just see it as totally normal. And
it's the New York way. It's the New York way.
Keep walking.
So you talked about working in, where is it, South Carolina?
Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Oh, okay. So what was it like growing up in South Carolina?
How long do you got? No, I'm kidding.
We got an entire podcast.
I'll keep it brief because South Carolina is boring, is how I say it.
Where were you in South Carolina?
All over the place. Like I was born upstate, and then we relocated across like the eastern coast a bit, but then we ultimately landed back in South Carolina. I went to high school in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Oh, that's so nice though.
That was really awesome. My parents like went bankrupt and had to like sell everything, and they were able to buy like a trailer that was like a few blocks away from the beach, and that was really cool, just being able to like walk to the beach.
That's awesome.
Sleeping on the beach because you didn't want to go home because you were too drunk, or spring break, you were already there. Like,
that's true.
Around. I actually have a spring break tattoo on my ass that
what
says
is
spring. It says spring break 08.
Oh my god,
not the date, not the date.
But the kicker of it, I got that in like 2017, the tattoo.
What the?
Like,
how?
that's how epic that
spring break
was. Yeah. So like, I had to like commemorate it a few years later because that was just
where
then,
can I ask where on the back it is?
It's on my ass.
It's not on the back.
It's on my right butt cheek.
Love that for you. That's iconic.
I hope you can see it if you ever wear a leotard.
You will never see it because I always pad and wear like 5 years of leggings. I'm not one of those like natural
naked girls.
I
can't
am.
do it. You are? You got the legs, honey.
I mean, I don't pad because
you're always wearing flowy things.
Yeah, I wear flowy things because I don't feel like doing that. I don't have time for that. Dick is not tucked. No pads, all natural, hairy legs.
Well, that's the Brooklyn way.
I love that. I love it. There are a few dresses I can get away without padding or wearing like 4 or 5 pairs of leggings, or even have to tuck. So I feel that. Yeah.
So when did you start getting into performing? Did you like perform before drag, or was it like something that happened later in life?
I've always like craved, I guess, attention.
Too.
So like being like the baby of my family, like I always got all of the attention. And then early on I like fell into drama and stuff, but then in high school I got too embarrassed, so like I stopped doing it. But then it was like kind of, well, I don't know. I took like a backseat to it. I started studying filmmaking, and then I started making these like really bad horror movies in college, or I mean in high school, not college. But I became interested in performing like in drag.
Yeah.
I guess moving to New York from South Carolina and being so exposed to it, because we at the time we lived like around the corner from Icon, which is like the best queer bar in Queens and Astoria.
Yeah.
And we lived right around the corner. I would see drag every night of the week because they had drag queens throughout the week, and I just became so fascinated. I was like, oh, I have to do this.
Yeah, I feel like New York is just its own like special scene compared to everywhere else. But South Carolina also has a really cute drag scene. I know a lot of queens from there.
Oh yeah, my first drag show was in Charleston, where me and Ducky met, and we went to college together. But he fell in love with it then, and I fell in love with it too, but I never saw myself doing it until we moved to New York. And I started to like meet drag queens. I'm like, oh, you have like a day job and you do drag queen stuff? And they're like, oh yeah, for sure. So it became more real and accessible in New York.
Well, I feel like pageantry is much bigger down south too. Like I feel like that's kind of the drag path usually for people down there. Here it's a little bit just like put on a gig, go home. Go back to your life.
Go home. When the bars close at 11:30 now. I love that. But
oh, do they? They've added to 11:30. I get so confused with when I can go home now.
I definitely left a club at 11:30, but it's definitely much earlier now, which I kind of like. Not gonna lie.
Oh, I miss living in LA and like the clubs having to close at 2, but really closing at 1:30. That means the show's over by like 12:30. It was fabulous.
Love it. Keep that in the post-pandemic world.
Let's keep
I'm tired of this 4 a.m. shit.
And like keeping a close circle rather than like a big circle of people. Like I don't have time to be going to like this person's birthday that I work with. You know, like I don't feel obligated anymore.
Your quarantine pod.
Yeah, we're in a pod.
Yeah.
You got to keep your pods.
Our pod is named after another drag podcast. That's the funny part.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
and I'm
funny.
always so confused. I'm like, what am I looking at? Because you have the group text message, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
Wait, what's you named your pod? I never thought to do that. What's the name?
Just the group chat. It's called. Wait.
Don't say it.
Okay, why? I don't really. No one listens to our podcast. It doesn't matter.
Can you bleep it out? Can you bleep it out?
Sure, I'll bleep it out. I won't. Bleep
okay, I mean it's not that. It's not like I'm saying like anything racy. It's just the name.
I don't even know where it came from, but
that's cute.
That was Gigi.
Oh, it was Gigi, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Gigi. She probably doesn't even know that's another podcast name.
I guess we do have a name for our pod. Our little quarantine pod is called, because I didn't know like that was our name until you just said that.
I mean, why not?
So if you're ready, ours is called Suck, Spit, and Repeat.
Oh.
But they're all
That's
like
so
girls,
good.
so it's not like...
That's even better.
Oh. Okay.
I don't even know who named it that. I don't.
I love it. So how did you get your drag name? Your drag name is actually one of my favorite drag names. I think about it all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I don't know why.
Oh, that's such an honor. I love that. I hear that it's like, people tend, a certain group of people tend to like it. Other people
probably young gays have no idea what the hell you're
they
talking
have no
about.
idea.
Yeah, no idea.
But the name came from, so I'm from South Carolina originally, but like I said, I was moving up and down the East Coast. We landed in a town called Winchester, Virginia, which is like 2 hours outside of DC. And I spent like 8 or 9 years living there. And come to be it, Patsy InDecline, that's her hometown. So like in 3rd grade, I remember going to this like museum, but it wasn't a museum, it was like some old house. It might have been her house, come to think of it, but it just had like all of her old dresses that she performed in. And like the costume, the jewelry, and they were like behind walls of glass, but you got to walk through this like house and see it. And as a 3rd grader, I didn't know who Patsy InDecline necessarily was at that time, but I fell in love with her drag, and I was like, oh my god, I love this. And then later in life, I fell in love with her music. I love her songs. I love her sad love songs. And funny, I was like 12 and dancing around in my parents' living room in my mom's like New Year's Eve outfit that she would wear every New Year's Eve. She never like bought a new one, but she would always wear the same one. They were asleep, and I like took it, I stole it, and I was wearing it, and I was dancing around my living room to a Patsy InDecline CD, and I got caught. So then I was like, oh my god, I can never do that again kind of feeling, but it's that music that draws me to her. And then I was doing drag to her without even realizing. So I wanted to pay an homage to her, and then also to indicate where I am in my life, and I'm on the decline, you know.
Yeah, I was like, are you in decline?
She's been declined.
Oh no. One day it'll change it to Patsy InDecline.
Yeah, see, and then and then if you're nasty, you can call me Miss Patsy, you know, like
so. Oh my.
But I love her.
I know the name, but I'm not familiar with her in the slightest. So I'm one of the young gays
that
Caitlin hates.
Yeah, she's just like a famous country singer.
I go walking after midnight. You know that song? No.
Probably not. No.
Crazy.
Country, not my thing, but I appreciate those that like it.
And she's so easy to mix. You know, like you can mix so much comedy into it. Anger, and like you could feel like the mood of it and like really transcend like different things into it. So it's just also easy. I'm like,
well, I feel like the nice thing is because she's like Southern country, like in New York, we don't really have like that sort of presence here. Which I know in the South, it like there is a lot of homage to it there, but in the North, there's not any. So I feel like you could stand out a little bit more with that here.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you a little bit more unique.
And I love attention, like I said. So.
Yeah. So how did you get into the drag scene once you came up here?
Um,
Like, I know you guys did Iconic, so how did How did that even happen?
So we started, like, we moved from Brooklyn to Astoria, and we moved in with like 2 other gay roommates that were not together. One was on our floor and one was in a basement. It was like this huge Astorian apartment. We had like a private garden in the back and 2 floors. Like, it was in shambles, so it's not like luxury, but we had our own space. So then, like, it kind of felt like a gay frat party. Like, we just had like a ton of people over all the time, and like that slowly and quickly at the same time turned into these like gender bender events where we invite like all of our friends over. We would get a keg of like beer made that was like specialty and like themed to the theme of the gay frat party.
Oh my God.
So then, like, we just had these blowouts, but then it took forever to get cleaned up, like days and weeks where it would just be filthy in our house.
Oh God.
So we were like, the next time we have a themed party, let's go to Icon. Let's like either rent it out or see if they'll just like open it before hours for us and just like throw a drag themed party. So that's where it started. And then we reached out to Icon. They didn't even charge us. They were just like, oh yeah, just come like 2 hours before we open. We can provide a bartender, like as long as you reach a minimum of people, like you can just show up. And I think the minimum at that time was like 50 people.
Oh wow.
And at 2 p.m. on a Saturday, we packed that bar.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it was the coolest fucking thing because that's like the first time we hit the stage as a performer, I guess.
Yeah.
And like some of like the first times I tried out routines and like numbers that I made. And that was the start of the decline.
Not this.
Not this.
So how did you get into Iconic at Icon?
Ducky paved the way for that. Ducky did that totally on her own. Got in, did fabulously. Always one of the craziest performers where the judges were always like either hot or cold on her, being like, you're boring one week, and then Ducky would be like, they're never gonna call me boring again. Like, almost literally show her asshole on stage and like so like Ducky did it and paved the way. And then the next year when they came out with the auditions, I was like, oh, I have to do this. And I messaged the producers and the host, Heidi Ho, shout out, love you, girl. And she was like, oh, you have to audition. We would love someone from your house.
Yeah.
Because at the time we did belong to a drag house that we created with those other 2 gay roommates. Yeah, but that soon disintegrated because they didn't take it seriously and we did. So, but anyway, they wanted someone from this like party scene that was happening in Astoria to then compete again, because like our parties, Ducky would pack the bar every Sunday, and Sunday's like a hard day for bars, as you know. But we would pack it for the Iconic season. So they wanted us back, and then I got in, and that was a legendary thing that happened because I had no plan going in there. Like, I knew my first kind of 2 mixes that I had from like the previous parties that we did, but I had no idea what I was doing. And that's like right after we met Michael, Aya, and Reina, who are Teen Japan. We met them at Bushwig that year, and then I think Iconic kicked off that February. So from September to February, I let them kind of like, I told them the themes and stuff that we were doing for Iconic, and we just kind of exploded, and it was the birth of what is currently happening in our lives today. So
Iconic. And how did you do in Iconic?
I made it to the finale.
That's great.
Yeah, I placed in the top, I think 4 weeks.
Wow.
In the top, I was in the top 2, I think 2 or 3 times, and then I won the first week. So I was doing really well in my own head. But like, it was also when I was like drinking a whole lot, and like drink tickets equaled votes. So I'd be like taking shots, and like it was, and like still not taking the performing things super seriously, still kind of treating it like a party, and like, you know, like, oh, I just have to make the audience happy. But the judges were the ones that really mattered, and most of the time I was in the top because the audience vote was the 4th judge. So I would just be up there for drinking and like entertaining people in the crowd, but I never knew the lip sync to the top. So I would just be kind of like,
is that familiar, Martyr?
I don't know what you're referring to.
But yeah, it was great. It really broke me into like thinking outside of my comfort zone. It made me realize things of like maybe not getting blackout drunk on stage and throwing pizza at the judges, dressed as Pizza Rat.
Queen.
Iconic.
Literally.
Literally.
I showed my dick and balls to people there doing a Buffalo Bill number. Like it's just
I mean, that's to be expected.
Yeah. But it's been a wild ride, and it really did shape the business that we're in and the character that Patsy is.
Would you do another competition?
Never, ever. I told Iconic if they did an all-star season, I would do it only if me and Ducky could compete together.
So that'd be cool if they did like a teams.
But not even teams, like
just you guys versus everybody.
Just one team versus everyone else, and just
or just be the judges, I guess.
Yeah, and like I went into the competition never thinking I was gonna win or thinking I was owed a win. I went in there trying to learn. So,
but you did get Miss Congeniality, so
I did.
People must have liked you.
I think it's like again the crowd vote.
Fan
favorite.
Oh, it was like that with
Miss Fan Favorite.
Same thing.
Valentina.
You're the Valentina.
No, actually, I steered clear of all the drama that happened backstage. There apparently after the competition, I learned a lot more of the drama, but during the time, I was only focused on myself and like performing, getting better, and like meeting the people who were voting. So I was never in the dressing rooms and never causing drama, but there apparently was a ton of drama. And I think that's why I got Miss Congeniality.
Because you were just like on your own lane.
Yeah, I was just always up on the floor, like with the other people. But
I mean, I wish more queens would, stay in their lane as well. Because I feel like there's a lot of drama in New York in general for nothing.
Oh yeah, just total drama for no fucking reason. It never makes sense, and you'll like hear both sides of the story, and you're like, why do you care?
Yeah, like why did it get to this point?
But yeah, we stayed out of it, and then the night that they crowned me Miss Congeniality was at like our reunion show, and only me and 2 other competitors showed up out of a cast of like 10 or 11 girls because they were all pissed, and the drama got to them, I guess, and they just
Yikes.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got Miss Congeniality in an empty bar.
I mean, what a way
I think I actually left, and then they told me I was crowned later.
Oh.
I had to like leave or something, but I was also drunk, so I don't remember. But.
What a way to end that time, though. Just, you won a title to no one.
They didn't give me a sash either. There was no sash.
Oh my gosh. Let's go take a little break, kids, and we'll be right back. Bye.
Bye.
Wig, okay. I know, wig. I feel that already. Wig, okay. Wig, did you just say wig? Wig, okay. I am ready for my wig to go.
Hi, kids. We're back. That was actually kind of a long break. Caitlin?
My cat threw up, so that was fun.
Oh, that's fun.
I had to clean that up.
My cats have been throwing up all day too.
Why? Both of my cats.
Both of my cats too. They hate.
Maybe it's the weather.
Is Mercury in her Gatorade again, or
Catarade?
Catnip. What a time to be alive right now. Anyway.
Right.
So we're keeping our plot points from the pre-pandemic so far. So you were a co-producer of many shows, bringing drag and queer performance into straight venues. What was that like?
That was so much fun because these people, like, they wouldn't go out of their way to, like, so we would work with the bar, of course, or like usually a brewery of sorts, and they wouldn't have, like, their form of advertising for our drag show, we would produce a flyer, print the flyers, bring the flyers to the brewery, ask them to hang them up. That was the amount of promotion they would do. They would just kind of like hang it on their door or do like a day of promotion on their Instagram story. So like the people at our drag shows in these breweries never had an idea or like knew what was coming at them. So it was always so fun. Just to like surprise a bunch of straight people with like a fabulous night of queer art, because it wasn't only like Ducky and me we were booking. We would book like Japanese fan dancers, we would book trans artists, we would book queer rappers, and like fill this, like those people would bring their own, you know, groups of people to like really fill out the crowds.
Yeah.
But like those people just like in the brewery had no idea that was happening, and they always had a great time. So I love doing it. And
I like the idea of the variety show format.
Oh, and that was our best Pride performance ever. We brought like a variety show to a brewery, and like we had to pull people off the sidewalk, you know, like blowing bubbles and drag and like doing like dances and stuff, and like literally grabbing people by the arm and pulling them into the bar, where they then had to pay a door fee and have a minimum at the bar and tip. So they were like,
damn,
thrown into it.
She's a business lady.
Yeah, damn.
All day long.
Were these all in Astoria?
No, these were everywhere. We mostly did them in Long Island City and Brooklyn, like Green Hook and
Greenpoint,
yeah. Red Hook. We were in Red Hook, but Greenpoint.
Yeah.
Long Island City. We were in City Field. We did a brewery there.
What?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
That was our best show. And then like the straight people from that show, they live in our neighborhood, and we see them all the time out at these like post pandemic now, and like they've booked us for birthday parties on Zoom. They've like, since the pandemic, they really like took on this like queer couple, like Ducky and Patsy, and like really like keep us employed. They buy our merch. They're doing like so like it's this weird community that I never knew I needed and wanted. So
I like that it's like beyond the LGBT community, because that's what I feel like will keep things going in the long term.
Oh, for sure.
If you could like stretch out a little bit.
Yeah. So then we were on March 13th, like I said, we had been booked for brunches, which is good money. Brunches are always like the key kind of gig you want, especially Ducky and I.
Oh yeah.
Because you would get in drag early, get paid bank, just brunch people give the most money. And then you get to get out of drag at like 2 p.m. and then go to a bar and drink. And then go home early, and then you're in bed by like 9. You know, like
oh, that sounds great right now.
Yeah. And like we loved working the brunches. So we were booked several months out, I think up until like May, and we had already started in February planning for Pride 2020, because you know, you have to start booking your stuff early.
Oh yeah.
So we were like booked up until like May and June, and then that all went away, and the pandemic hit.
But the pandemic did not like stop y'all from going out. Like
y'all a production house.
You were inside, but you went all out.
We had to hit the ground running. We started doing our first weekly show ever, which was on Wednesdays through Instagram Live. But we did something really unique. We did like a trivia kind of thing, and like had giveaways and sex toys.
Everyone was sending me about these damn giveaways. Like they're like, you have to do it. It's so much stuff.
It was like on a given Wednesday, we would have like $1,000 worth of merchandise that got shipped to our apartment, and we would like model it and show it off, and we would get to keep the samples, but model and like send out the code for the person who won.
How did you get sponsorships with that? I've been wondering about that. Oh,
Ducky is the like brains behind the operation. I'm just the face. So no, Ducky's also the face. Ducky's just very business savvy. She's always wanted to be her own boss, and discovering drag, she realized, oh, this is the avenue to take. Like I can be my own boss. And like I said, like with the breweries and stuff pre-pandemic, Ducky was booking us. Like I would like answer emails as they came in, or like I mostly like waited for guest spots after my season of Iconic.
Yeah.
But Ducky was like, nope, we're not gonna wait. We're gonna just like hit the ground running. And with the Instagram stuff, that's where that sparked. Like she already had these relationships with these companies in the past. So she just reached out to her Rolodex of people she had. Was like, hey, we're thinking about doing this show. Do you want to A, sponsor the show?
Yeah.
Or B, do you want to have something that we give away? So we got like sponsors through it, we got giveaways through it, and then we are still sponsored by some of those people.
That's amazing. For your YouTube?
Not for our YouTube. We have a new random sponsor I can tell you about later.
Okay.
But so this company called Proud Mary, or this organization rather, Proud Mary, they take on the Ducky and Patsy package as a sponsorship. So anything we do, we have to like, if it's something new that we're thinking of, like we always think of Proud Mary and like how they can help us. And most, like I would say 9 out of 10 times they're like on board with it. Yeah,
that's
and they
great.
help
What
in
is Proud
some
Mary?
capacity. Yeah, they help in some capacity. It's not always like monetary at all. Like usually it's like, okay, you can, like we'll trade you this for this, and like it's more of like,
And what do they do exactly? Proud Mary.
Proud Mary, they are a great organization that supports queer people and the cannabis industry. So
and what a time for that right now.
We're thriving out here.
And you're able to grow weed now and like smoke weed, and people in jail who were penalized for smoking weed or selling weed or having weed on them, they're also allowed to.
Where are my edibles at the bodega? But that's coming soon, probably.
Literally, this just passed like a week ago.
I know. But listen, if I've been hearing stories of people finding joints at like just in a jar at the bodega counter, so like that's gonna happen sooner than later.
Oh yeah.
But that organization sounds great. So
Mary, they love you, and especially Bree. Bree is the brains behind the operation.
So besides just like doing the giveaways, I know you've also done a lot of fundraising and mutual aid. How did you get involved with that?
Well, I think like 2020, right? If we think about it in a series of chronological events, 2020, March 2020, the world ended, right?
Yep.
And then we were just trying to bring joy. We were just trying to bring joy back into people's lives. And like still like bring awareness of like where you can go to get tested, like, you know, food banks in the area. We're always talking about that. But with the murder of George Floyd and seeing how in so many ways it intersects our community and our friends and the people we love and the people I serve at my day job. So, you know, we were very compelled at that time just to be like, okay, let's like take a small break. So we like quit social media just for a minute. Because at that time we were also doing virtual Pride for New York City, and it was like our biggest goal was to do Pride in some sort, and we got booked by like the Manhattan, you know, big Pride organization to do a virtual something or another. But then they gave everyone the space, all the Black, Brown, and you know community there, all the spots. So then we were released of our position, which really opened our eyes, and we're like, okay, let's do something where like we take a break, we regroup, let's think of things that are important in our lives and how, because we are very fortunate to be drag queens that also have day jobs and like our bills are paid. It's not drag supplements our income quite a bit, and it does help us to be able to save and like buy groceries and last minute bills, all that. But we are lucky in that sense where we do work, you know, like 9 to 5, or me, I'm 7 to 4:30, but whatever. But so
that's early.
We just regrouped and we said, what's really important right now? We were like, let's commit here and now to not only do this until, you know, that's over, but let's bring awareness to certain causes through our drag. Let's always donate and raise a portion of money to doing so. So from there, we reached out to our network of people, and I just happened to be talking on the phone one day to my friend Shauna Flowers, and we were working at the same school several years ago in Brooklyn. She was the dance teacher and I worked in the main office. But we were always friends, and like we smoke weed together, you know, like we're cool, like we hang out. But aside from being a dance teacher, she's actually she's a co-owner and a fabulous person of an organization called Black Girl Tutors. So we partnered with them and we started raising a ton of money to donate. So with Black Girl Tutors, they're a bunch of teachers that and entrepreneurs that decided, you know, there are so many learning gaps here and with the students, but also we're not getting paid enough as teachers in the first part. So why don't we start this side hustle of like tutoring kids to get them on grade level while at the same time like financing ourselves. So for a tutoring session of 30 minutes, sorry, to backtrack. We started asking them like, okay, so how do we raise a scholarship for a child? So like they can get the tutoring they need to get them where they need to go. And then, so they met and then they talked to us and they said, well, 4 sessions of tutoring would equal a scholarship, which would be $120, which is not that much money to raise. So our goal was always to raise at least 1 scholarship or even more throughout the shows. And then I think at this point, we're up to 10 or more scholarships we raised. While still at the same time raising money for the Okra Project, we raised money for Diane Morales's campaign for mayor in New York City. We brought her on our show. We gave the space for her to talk to our fans and our followers. It's just been since the murder of George Floyd, I think like it just has been this like ever present, but like let's do it now kind of movement towards let's just not only lift up our queer community, but let's also lift up our intersecting communities as well.
That's so inspiring. I'm really like inspired by like queens who use their platform for good.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be more of that.
I do too, because you see it so often where girls are really passionate about a cause, and then the second people stop posting so much about it or raising awareness, it's just kind of gone. So me and Ducky feel disappointed by that. So we
as do I.
So that's always going to be a pillar in our drag. It's going to be there forever.
Yeah, it's so important. I'm very proud of y'all.
Thank you.
You also launched a publication, Ain't Bad. What is that about?
Oh no, I didn't launch a publication.
Oh, okay. Then what did you
featured?
Oh, you were featured in a publication. That's even better because you don't have to do all the hard work.
Right. So during the pandemic, we gotten like people in our pod are upstairs neighbors because they're like the apartment building is just 3 floors and 3 apartments. So we have like an older lady on the first floor who's lived here for like 40 years. And then our apartment, and then above us is a couple. And the girl, her name's Louisa, she's a photographer, like really, really cool stuff. And she has a studio in her apartment. So during the pandemic, she like caught on that we were going live a lot. So she started documenting that process of like us getting ready in our apartment, commuting from the bedroom to the living room, you know, like that. Like she was like us transforming our spaces into a studio or like whatever we were doing. And she started documenting a lot of that. And then it got a lot of like behind the scenes, like more raw kind of material. And she started putting together packages and shipping them off to like different platforms or different publications. And we got picked up by Ain't Bad, and she won an award for it. She got like first place. Yeah, she got like first place in a photo journal. I cannot remember off the top of my head, but it was like a camera brand website. So it was like a bigger deal, and she won money off of it, I think. So,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so it was crazy. So we got published in that. We've been published in a few other things or highlighted on Instagram for our fundraising stuff. But one of our good friends, Sherry Poppins, who's a drag queen, she also is a photographer by trade and by school, or or education, sorry. And she brought over this like huge old timey camera and captured us on our couch as we were like doing a makeup look. And then she printed that and made a small batch of, I think maybe 30 copies of this like kind of zine style publication and sold out of it. So it was really cool that just we got to be a part of like that, but also with our upstairs neighbor. She's with the City of New York Archive, I think.
Okay.
So the photos she took from our series of like, we called it Live from Woodside because we live on Woodside Avenue. That's going to be in the archive of New York City too. So
wow, oh my goodness,
look at y'all. That's amazing.
So cool.
Yeah.
So we're just like hitting the ground running and like running hard and fast. It's been a year. So
I like that you're like making your mark.
I was gonna say everything in that like sequence just like light up all these synapses in my brain because like all that sounds really cool and really amazing. So congrats to y'all and your neighbor.
And it feels so good, you know. It feels really good.
YouTube channel. I believe I remember Ducky telling us about some of the YouTube content they are making. Are you also involved in that process?
I am.
Please tell us.
I am. YouTube is probably my favorite project we're doing so far because it's totally like out of our brains and like just these like really weird, ridiculous challenges that we put on ourselves to do and like in full drag and like, but at the same time, I feel like it's breaking the character of Patsy a little bit in the sense of like Patsy at a bar full of straight people is like very feminine and very like different voice or like whatever.
You have different voice.
It's like a whole character, right? But with the YouTube channel, it's more of like me and like Patsy is this like disguise that allows me to be me, like and be watched, you know, because if I'm doing that dressed in an Ash Ketchum hat and a shirt with like sweat stains on people aren't going to care, people aren't going to watch, but like throw on a wig and some nice makeup and some beautiful jewelry and then boom, people love it. So
how often do you guys post?
Once a week, so it's like
that's a lot.
Y'all are consistent.
That's so much work.
But we have a team of people, like I said, it's Team Japan.
Yes.
Michael, Styled by Michael, is on hair and makeup. Aya is helping us either creating costumes or she's styling us. Ducky and I, and Yuka, who's our producer and editor, she is helping with like the ideas and the flow of things. Ducky and I are doing a lot of day of stuff, like making sure that everyone's fed. We're making sure that people have enough White Claws, you know, like we're also like, it is our idea and like the heaviest load is on Ducky and me because it is our names on the show. So like everything, and Ducky and I are both kind of control freaks. So like we meet about drag every single day. And like we're planning not only our weeks, but our months and our, well, half a year, we're planning Pride now, but like it's always like 3 steps into the future. And YouTube is just like kind of brought that out of us. Like that definitely like needing to plan and over plan and you can't procrastinate it. But we, so a typical month we'll shoot twice.
Okay.
They have to be on Saturdays because everyone's schedule, but we'll start getting in drag at 3 p.m., start shooting around 6, and then we're not done until 12 at night or even later. So we're trying to film like 6 videos each shooting date. So that's like resetting the whole set, like cleaning up after getting pudding dumped all over you or whatever, changing your hair, like doing touch-ups, like it's a lot of work. Yeah, but it's been so fun. And like what I was telling you about the weird, when you were asking about sponsors on YouTube, like, that's a weird one because randomly one of our YouTube subscribers donated to us or gave us $1,000 to put back into the YouTube videos. So like they wanted to see us do like mukbangs and buy stuff off of Amazon, which is like weird content that we never thought of or necessarily like wanted to do, but it's challenging because we got to like mukbang McDonald's the first night when we got the money and it was a total surprise to us, but we mukbang McDonald's, we mukbang Taco Bell. yeah, it's just we got to spend money on Amazon and like just buy ourselves dresses because we never have enough, it seems like. So it's been a weird and excellent ride. And we're filming not this weekend, but next weekend, and a whole nother list of other stuff.
I'm kind of obsessed. Would you guys also like branch out to TikTok?
Say that again, sorry.
Would you branch out to TikTok as well?
We got deleted off of TikTok.
What?
Drama.
How?
What you do? What you do?
So Ducky was being filmed in her fake, her chest plate, her fake breast, but she like exposed a nipple and screamed, "These are real titties!" And then it got taken off, and we got deleted. Like our whole profile got deleted.
No.
Wow.
Our producer has started a new one where it's just like clips of our YouTube channel.
Okay.
I sometimes come across it on my For You page, but I don't follow it. It's like 3 videos. It's not.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's nothing like.
I'm sure you could always restart it and just like use a different name or something.
I am immensely impressed with the content production there, because since starting this job, like I've been wanting to do stuff, and then as soon as I get home, I'm just like, nope,
No.
dead. I passed out yesterday. I passed out at 9 p.m. and woke up at 7:55 a.m. I was done. So
I think you're gonna adjust though.
Yeah, that's for me to figure out. But I love this, like how strict you guys are sticking to it, especially like 3 to 12 long days are insane.
Twice a month.
Jesus Christ.
On top of working 5 days a week every month. Like so like some weekends we'll be working, like if we hit an off week where like say we get booked for like a Zoom birthday party, we'll be working 14 days straight, and like either in or out of drag, or like the combination of both jobs and whatever we're doing is always, sometimes we hit that like 14 days and then we have to like be like, okay, no more bookings, let's just like regroup, figure this out, slow down. We're allowed to slow down.
Yeah.
Are you gonna keep it up after the pandemic like chills out?
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm most proud of the YouTube content, because that's me, and I feel like it's us, and it's us being authentic and real, and I love that journey that we're on. Performing live, yes, I miss it so much, but at the same time, it's always hit or miss, because like if you're not getting booked at these like huge brunch venues or these like really iconic gay bars in your neighborhood or all over New York, like if you're not getting booked there and you're trying to book yourself, it can a lot of times get disheartening and discouraging when like I said, like the bars or the breweries that we were performing in, they didn't have like a promotion package or anything, so we were doing that all ourselves. And more often than not, I hate to say this, but we would perform for like the few friends of ours that would come out to support, and like the bar would be empty because they didn't promote it. So like that was always like disheartening and discouraging. But with YouTube, it's something more I can control, and it's something I can build. So I like where we're going with this. I love the performance aspect, and that's why we're going to be going back to performing in June once we're like vaccinated, and we're like working on this big Pride package. So we'll be back live, but I think moving on, it's going to be more selective of what we do, because we do have so many fingers in like so many like pots, where we can kind of like be like, okay, this is successful this month, so let's like focus on that. Or like, oh, we have a lot of downtime, let's focus on performing at bars or something. So
yeah, makes sense.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
It sounds like we need a little break, kids, because God knows I need a caffeine shot. We'll be right back. Bye.
Wig, okay. I know, wig. I feel that already. Wig, okay. Wig, did you just say wig? Wig, okay. I am ready for my wig to go flying.
And we're back. We just had a little nerd chat, but I think we're going to continue some of it
continuing it
into this segment, because we talked to Ducky about it, but your YouTube content focuses a lot on Japanese culture. So please tell us some of your favorite stuff like I just did to you, but no one will hear.
Well, you talked about it with Ducky, so it's
Yeah,
not
T.
like
Yeah.
just listen to the Ducky episode.
Please revisit the Ducky episode for any music or anime needs. That's all Ducky's realm. I love Japanese like reality TV shows and game shows. And that's kind of where like the references are drawing from. Are like, I don't know if you've ever watched like an hour of Japanese television, but it is the craziest time you'll ever have. It's so fun. And that's where we're kind of like drawing our YouTube inspiration from. It's like those.
I think a lot of Western or understanding is like game shows, but then I know Terrace House is really popular over here too. I think they canceled that recently, but I remember that being very popular.
Did you ever see a show called Maximum Extreme Elimination Challenge?
Nope.
It was, this is my like earliest, well, no, it's not my earliest exposure to Japanese culture, but it's one of the things that like I discovered myself just by watching American TV. It was like, do you remember the Spike TV channel? Like TV for Men?
Yep.
My dad loved that shit. So like I'd be sitting on the couch and like he'd be watching TV and then like cooking or whatever. Not on the couch. He would like go to cook, but I would be left on the couch and like Spike would run this show called Maximum Extreme Elimination Challenge. And it's this
competition series.
Sorry. Yeah, it's a series show where they like have maybe like 100 people compete in one episode where it's like the most dangerous obstacle courses you've ever seen, and like they don't look safe, and people are like getting seriously hurt, like doing like log rolls or like getting hit by these boulders. Like they're these impossible challenges that, and it's totally Japanese, but like the American comedians who took it over, like they dub it in English, but it's not like a translation from Japanese to English. It's just them like kind of making
jokes.
I think now that you said that,
I think I vaguely remember this
because I was a frequent watcher of Spike TV. So that
I just
did they have like a mud pit? Was there like a mud pit?
There's that giant mud pit where you have to catch the ball and like they can't see where the ball's coming, but you're supposed to dive head first into this mud pit.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Yeah.
The
that brings me back.
But that's like where like I really like, I've always known Japanese people. They've always been in my life, but that was like something I discovered on my own. I was like, that's really funny. And I really like that. And I like that type of television. But in 2012, Ducky and I, we saved up for over a year and we bought plane tickets. I think we were in our senior year of college. And we bought plane tickets to go to Japan just like as a vacation, but we are also going to stay with Ducky's. Sorry, I used her Christian name.
Don't worry, I can bleep it.
We stayed over at one of Ducky's friends there who is Japanese in Tokyo. So we got to stay there for 3 weeks, traveled all over Japan and really got to love and know the culture for a bit. But yeah, it's just, I've always had this appreciation of Japanese culture. And then one year we went to Bushwick and met Aya and Reina, our designers, and they're both Japanese Americans now. Reina actually went back to Japan, but Aya's still here. We met Michael through them that same night, and that just kind of sparked this whole creative force. And then throw in a pandemic where everyone's bored. We launch a YouTube channel. Everyone we're working with is Japanese. Me and Ducky have a huge appreciation for Japanese people and culture, so of course that's the way it went. So
I love it.
Yeah, that's great. Wow.
It's been so fun.
So I know y'all are launching a merch line. What is it?
So we launched our t-shirts and our masks.
I saw the masks. They're so cute.
We actually just wrapped the sale because like everything else in our world, is everything is small batch. So we didn't want to go through like a big vendor that, charges you a ton of money, and then like you might sell 20 shirts, but then your stuff is always on that website and no one notices or cares, and like the quality is really bad. So not calling anyone out, but I see you. you know. So
I
we
could call
decided,
some people out for that.
Oh my gosh, I think everyone could.
It's a lot. It's a lot of people.
It's just like really low quality, like really bad stuff. So we wanted to create like handmade or like hand printed stuff through queer artists. And like I was talking to this person for a while, and this person's name is Johnny. Hey girl. We've been friends for years on Instagram because she fucked my friend's ex-boyfriend or something, but somehow we connect over the internet because that's how Facebook works, I guess. But we've been like really close, and then it came out that her and her partner are like these low key, like really cool t-shirt designers and stuff. So we started meeting with them to create a merch line of just like the shirts and masks in small batches. So we only wanted to start off really small to see how many we sell before we move on to like a bigger batch. So we did our small batch we just wrapped the sale, and I'm happy to say we sold out, which was really cool. But the t-shirts were designed by this really cool queer person, and when we were in these like development meetings, we were like, okay, so like make us look like Beavis and Butthead, but like the babe version of them, like, you know, like the hot 80s girls, like, and that's what we came up with, and that's our t-shirt line.
Amazing.
Are you gonna do more merch
yeah,
drops?
for sure. Yeah, it was a lot of work, and it's a lot to keep track of, especially like throughout the day when you're making sales, but you're at your day job, so you don't have your personal computer up to be able to like track the orders that are coming in. So like, yeah, we're gonna do it. We're thinking about like a ugly sweater for the holidays or something.
Oh, that'd be so cute.
Yeah, but like doing like just keeping small, steady streams of income is like our biggest goal, to being able to work for ourselves. So like this was like an experiment into that. And it was successful. So of course we're gonna try it again, maybe on a larger scale during the holidays when everyone has all that extra money.
Oh my God, I know. That's the moment. And you are launching a podcast? When is that?
Yes. So Ducky and I are co-hosting a podcast with our good friend, Christine Pettit. She's one of the people we've gotten to know in New York, and who has really come out and supported our drag, and just been one of our biggest advocates. And everything we do, like even those shows I was telling you about, like no one would be at, she would always be in the front row, just like in awe of us. And it's like, that doesn't make sense because you've seen this number like 8 times. Like, you don't have to keep giving me your money. Like, you can go home. But she's like a huge advocate. Like Ducky used to work with her at his day job, her day job. Prior, that's how we met. But we're co-hosting a podcast called The Oddities Podcast. And that's where the three of us do like amateur research into like things deemed odd, and we're trying to destigmatize those things. So our first episode, which we successfully recorded, we're still in the process of editing, is about the ABDL community, which is adult babies in diaper lover community.
Oh my God, I just watched what's it called? What's that show? What is it? It's on Hoarders. It was one of the TLC shows. My Strange Addiction.
Yes.
My Strange
Oh
Addiction.
my God, I love that.
I just watched that episode where they had an adult baby on.
So we interview someone from that community in our first episode, and it's like the YouTube channel. Like it feels like something I can control, and it feels good to being able to build off of it. So it's like a mix between like bringing awareness to ostracized communities, but also discussing like UFOs. Or episode 2, we're going to be talking about the true crimes in our hometowns. You know, like it's like a true crime, but like
we're obsessed with that. Martyr and I are obsessed with that.
Well, you'll have to tune in. We're launching it, I think, May 3rd. We're partnering with Proud Mary. They're sponsoring our first 10 episodes. So
wow, good for y'all.
So that's great.
It's been a ride. So yeah, we're really excited about it. And I feel like the YouTube channel, this podcast is my baby, and I love it. I love it.
I like the concept of the podcast, because there's so many out there that you gotta stand out.
And it's 2 drag queens and a cis female that are talking about like the weirdest shit. So like, why not?
I love that. I love me some weird shit from weird people.
I love it too. And the first episode will not let you down. I tell you that. It's really
Ooh,
cool.
that's a teaser, kids. Okay, so you talked about planning ahead for this year too, because I think you said your schedules are booking up really quickly.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing for Pride this year? Especially since I feel like at that point everybody's going to be vaccinated.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be big in New York. People are already planning on coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're planning one of the biggest events we've ever had the privilege to plan. So we're actually partnering with an arts organization in Long Island City. It's an I don't know if I can say the name yet because a lot of it's still in the negotiation phases and we're still scouting talent and stuff at this point, but we are booked for the entire month of June. Every weekend is like Thursday through Sunday is some sort of something that me and Ducky are either assisting in producing for that weekend of stuff, but it's going to be outdoors. They're constructing this huge, beautiful stage made out of like shipping containers, and it's going to have this like really cool design in it. They showed us like the sketches of it. It's really cool. We're partnering with a bunch of curators though, because we're at the beginning of June, it's like launching their huge art exhibition. So like we're trying to figure out what makes sense during which week. We're still like in those planning phases of like planting drag throughout those weeks as well in June. But then like there's going to be a huge blowout on the last weekend, like Pride weekend in June, where they're thinking, and the plan is to get permits out to close off the streets around the facility and then do like a queer flea market around, and then
love me a queer flea,
and then like to close the flea market all at one time, so then everyone migrates to another area without calling it a march, because you can't march yet, or that hasn't been clear by the CDC. So it's going to be a exodus from one location to another. So like it's like this big kind of like,
as a half Jewish person, I know what you're talking
about. To the promised land.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're working on that. It's all up in the air right now, but we are in the process of booking talent. They've given us permission to do that. And we're having so much fun doing it. We're meeting with them weekly as well to plan like current, like next steps. What do we want out of this, that, blah, blah, blah. But it's going to be huge and we're excited for it because we've never produced anything on this scale. And then to do it during a pandemic is like even weirder and bigger. So it's like harder to manage because they're worried about turning people away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it's going to be all of Long Island City. So we'll see.
I'm so close to there. I'm so excited.
You gotta come. It's so fun.
I definitely will be there. That sounds
so cool.
Yeah, especially if it's like down the street from me. I'm not too far from Long Island City.
Where do you guys live?
I'm in Midtown Manhattan.
Okay. Williamsburg.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have the G.
Yeah, you take the G or you take the 7 right in, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I take the Uber in. That's what I do.
Yeah. She's got Uber money.
Not in this pandemic. Even in June, I'm probably still gonna take the Uber.
And then I think one more plug before we get into some juicy stuff.
Yeah.
You mentioned in one of our breaks, but we should bring it to our listeners' attention. You'll be on Drag Rocks this upcoming Wednesday with you and Ducky. So that's exciting. Who else is joining you?
We're going to be competing against Amanda Massacre.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. So Amanda's also a Queen's Queen, fabulous performer. Really, since the pandemic, has like been producing online digital shows, and the content is great. So it's going to be a really fun and wild time. Amanda's actually come over before the pandemic for dinner, I think once or twice. So it's like old friends, and Sissy was in Ducky's competition at Iconic. So like it's just all in the family that night. It's going to be so fun.
Aww.
That sounds great.
We love Dragbox. It'll be on WERRRK.tv. Check it out. Our sister channel. They're not even, well, Dragbox is our sister channel. WERRRK is, I guess, our channel.
Yes.
I don't know how that works. So what is the best advice you've been given about drag? You can think about it.
No, I guess it's the mantra that I always tell Ducky, especially like when Ducky's concerned about like an image or something, or the way we're going to come off to people, or if there's a concern about our motives or something like that, I always tell him what RuPaul tells everyone. It's like, if they're not paying your rent, then what is it? What is the line? If those
bitches ain't paying your rent,
bill, pay them bitches no mind.
No mind. And I say that's the biggest advice I think I've heard, and I use that mentality always. Just like, it's noise at this point, you know. Like, if people are unhappy with something, it's noise. So.
Yeah, and a lot of times, I guess, like as a performer, you might think someone's unhappy, but a lot of times people are focused on themselves. So
in this city,
I mean, that's where you are, but
I won't get started.
If they're not paying your bills, pay those bitches no mind.
It's so true, though. I'm 100% with that quote.
I think it's my turn.
Yeah, it's your favorite.
Favorite question. I think this question's so important. I don't care what anybody says.
Who said it wasn't important?
I don't know. I just think.
Hey, the bitches don't mind because no one's paying our bills.
Now I'm nervous.
Can you give us a scandalous, crazy, wild story that you have seen, heard of, or been in drag, nightlife, what have you? Just give us something juicy, something spicy.
Okay, here's something spicy. Hold on, let me gather my thoughts because that.
Don't worry,
I didn't prep you. That's my fault.
Yeah,
no, it's so cloudy because so something juicy. When I was competing in season 2 of Iconic in Astoria, one of the week's challenges was a prosthetics challenge, but you didn't get to choose your own prosthetics. It had to be animal based. So you had to like represent an animal on the stage, create a number to also complement that, and like serve it to the judges. This weekend happened to be on my birthday weekend. So like I turned whatever age it was at that time on Friday. Saturday was like just a free day, and then Sunday was the show. So I got drunk on Friday night, and I stayed drunk until Sunday night before I went on the stage. And like my concept for the animal and the prosthetic was I'm going to be Pizza Rat that week. Because it's very New York, it's very iconic. We're at the bar called Icon. Like I'm trying to bring you realness, right? So I'm still drunk from like that whole thing. We go to brunch that morning and like we're drinking mimosas, and I'm like, then we switch to whiskey and everyone passes out, and that's when I'm like trying to start to glue this prosthetic onto my face. Anyway, with lots of help later, I make it to the bar, but I'm so drunk and I didn't realize that we carried like my team and like us, we decided like, okay, if you're Pizza Rat, let's fill the stage with like real trash. So we drag in these like garbage bags full of trash. We filled trash bags with like our dirty laundry to like make up for this, like to make it look like a dumpster. And we order a pizza, and this is still so stupid in my head now, repeating it. I'm dressed like a New York, like kind of like a Liza Minnelli, but like with a prosthetic on my nose that didn't match like the makeup. Like it's just a hot mess. I'm still whiskey drunk, and like I'm carrying around this pizza, and like I'm performing the number I mixed, and I open the pizza and it says "Vote for Patsy" on the lid of the pizza, and then my drunk ass starts to take the slices out of the box and throw them at the judges.
No.
Like, throw them onto the. And then I started I got distracted and I started selling the slices of pizza to the audience. So that week was a hot mess. And then I had to wake up and go to work the next day after that 3-day bender. And at the time I was a director of a private preschool. So I was like the boss at that time, being like, trying to keep people accountable and making sure payroll was going up. But they didn't know this like side of me that was like a drunk drag queen. So it was just weird all around.
Love that. Both you and Ducky had your craziest stories were both from Iconic.
I know.
Sounds like
It's
you guys
a
had
wild
a
ride.
wild time. Yeah.
So our last question before we wrap up, where do you want to take your drag in the future?
That is such a great question because right now we're kind of debating leaving New York.
Oh.
Yeah. So we have our sights set on a few smaller cities, and then the plan is to kind of go to a smaller city, take over that drag scene in a sense of like, now we have this like New York experience, we have this entrepreneurship kind of mentality. Let's go take over a town and like be those leading drag queens, because it's never going to happen here in New York for us. It's just like
too much competition.
Yeah, and it's just like you can be booked for weeks and weeks and weeks and not be talented. So like it doesn't make sense in my head of like how the city works or who's getting booked or who's not.
Yeah.
So to go figure out a smaller city, figure out the ins and outs of that, being respectful, of course, like not just like being like, bitch, this is my bar now and it's like a drag space, but we have that experience of taking non-drag spaces and making them into drag spaces and doing that in a smaller city, and then that way we can still keep up with our YouTube, keep up with the podcast, keep up with the merch, still kind of keep all those steady small streams of income going, so that eventually we can quit our 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And just
I was
focus
gonna
on
ask,
drag.
yeah.
But ultimately, my personal goal with drag, I want to be famous in Japan.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't want to get on Drag Race. I want to be a TV host or a correspondent for Japanese television. That's my goal.
Are you fluent in Japanese?
No.
Oh,
Ducky is in our
I know,
team
yeah.
So like my job would be like reacting to things, or like tasting weird stuff or like whatever. Like I'm game for anything. But
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this plan of action. I mean, I feel like so many queens left in the pandemic to go to other cities, like where they're from. But I feel like most people have been doing pretty well in these other spots.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Or adaptable.
You see Nicolonoscopy like doing amazing things in, I think
Portland.
she's in Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like Ms. Diamond Wigfall. I think she's in Salem still producing stuff. Edie James also, like people are still doing stuff from their home cities, but they still have that New York audience.
Yeah, exactly. I think if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, as we know.
Thanks, Sinatra.
So, yeah.
And so funny, that's the song I performed as Pizza Rat. Like that song.
Queen, what a good way to wrap up the episode. Thank you so much for coming on our show, Patsy.
You're so inspiring. I feel like I don't do anything with my life.
I know.
I'm thinking about our podcast. I'm like, we just plan these things like so last minute.
We're just for the moment kind of people.
But you guys are doing it, and I wish I could be more off the cuff with stuff, but I'm such a control freak that I need to know.
I mean, that's a good trait to have sometimes. So like,
we definitely don't have that trait.
No. Where can the kids find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram at Miss_Patsy69, because 69 is my least favorite sexual position. I don't like it.
Same.
It's too many balls. It's too many balls.
I'm not much of the bottom part of the 6. I'm like more of like in the I'm not going to describe this. But I get what you mean. I
feel you. I don't like it.
But and then your YouTube channel is at,
you can find us by searching for Ducky and Patsy.
Beautiful. Is that all the
that's all my places.
Okay.
And you can Venmo me.
What's your podcast coming up called?
So the podcast we're launching May 3rd is called The Oddities Podcast.
Gotcha.
And that will be available on Spotify and iTunes.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
It's been such a great privilege.
Privilege.
It's been a privilege.
Can you tell how tired we all are?
Yeah.
But thank you.
But yes, thank you so much, babe. I was Martyr.
I was C. Tepper.
And this was Wow.
Bye.
I'm C. Tepper. You can follow me on Instagram at CTEPPER and read my book, The State of Drag, where I interviewed 175 drag queens from around the world. All proceeds go to charity on Amazon.com.
Ooh, I love that. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Drag the Martyr. And if you have any thoughts, comments, dick pics, send them to dragthemartyr@gmail.com.
Listen, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Pandora.
And catch up with past episodes on WERRRK.com. That's WERRRK.com. Artwork for Wigging Out was provided by Glitter Baby Online. That's Glitter Baby Online. Thank you.